What's going on, guys? A little bit of a different video today. I kind of did the same thing with my ZR2 recently. Just kind of an overview of what is the ZF6 LB7 and all the mods and things that are done to it. Not that I've done all of them, but I've done a decent amount of them. So for those who don't know, this is my big truck. It is a manual. It does have the LB7. This is an 01. No Shave November nonsense. This is an 03 Silverado 2500. It is the short bed, the first ever Duramax they made. And it's not a base model truck. Most of these trucks that are a stick don't have any options inside. Most of them are manual locks, manual windows, rubber floor, no steering wheel controls, all that good stuff. This is a pretty loaded truck with power windows and door locks. It has real carpet. It has steering wheel controls. This truck actually came with power folding mirrors. And I can show you the switch. That, if you guys know these switches, see how it's lit up? See how it's off? When you change the mirrors, that's your power folding button right there. So yeah, I forgot about this. It said power folding mirrors on a manual truck. Super, super rare. Yeah, it doesn't have the leather seats or the digital climate control, but that's really about it. I mean, it has basically everything else you could get back in 2003, which wasn't that much. It is my least favorite color GM ever made. Pewter metallic. I guess they think because it's metallic it makes it slightly better. But I mean, it is what it is. It's okay. If it was my choice, I would have white or gray or something like that. It's not the best truck out there by any means. It's a pretty cool cat eye, but it is rare. I've never come across another one of these. I came across another ZF6 and that was an LLY, but that had high mileage. It was rusted. I think it was wrecked and it needed a bunch of work. That was the only other one I've ever seen that was a crew cab short bed ZF6. And that truck was a base model. This is not. I just happened to stumble across this truck. I wasn't necessarily looking to buy one. I had an 01 LB7 white extended cab. Pretty clean truck, did have a little bit of rust, but it only had like 120,000 miles on it. It was my first ever Duramax. It's what I could afford. I like that truck a lot, but I wanted a crew cab. Just at the time, I couldn't afford one of the crew cabs. I really wanted an LBZ. So I happened to stumble across this on Craigslist. This is before Facebook Marketplace really took off, back in the day, Craigslist. So I found it, messaged the guy. I think he wanted $26,500 for it. Keep in mind, it only has 65,000 miles. Now when I got it, I think it had 58. So 58,000 mile manual Duramax. I had to jump on it. This is what it looked like when I bought it. You have to see the forest through the trees because it was not a good looking truck by any means, but I saw the potential. I think I paid $26 for it. So that was pretty expensive. It probably overpaid a little bit, but I'm never gonna find another one. This has kind of been my journey with it ever since. So guys, I'll take you through the mods that the previous owner did, and then we'll go over what I changed and the mods that I've added and will keep adding. So to start, it's obviously lifted. Now in the grand scheme of things, compared to new trucks, it's really not that tall. It really sits about level with like a new 2500, whether it's from Ram or Ford or Chevy. So it does have about a 4-inch lift on it. To be honest, no idea the brand. I don't know. It's a proper suspension drop lift kit, torsion bar drop, and everything. Now the guy probably told me what it was, but that was like 6 years ago. What's interesting is this. It has shock hoops on both sides. So you have the factory shock, well not factory, but the factory location shock, plus dual shocks on top of the control arm. I don't know what brand those are, so if you guys know, leave a comment so I can maybe figure it out. I'm honestly just curious. It doesn't need any parts or anything, it's not broken. I'm just curious what lift it is. In the rear, it's lifted as well. Now I remember him telling me this is like a 4 to 6 inch lift. He used to have it, when I bought it, it had 20 by 12s on it with 33s. And he said prior to that, he had, I think, the same wheels, but with 35s, and he had the lift all the way up. So he had like the 6-inch setting on the lift, bigger blocks in the rear and all that. When I got it, he had the front turned down to like the 4-inch that you see now. Now the rear did sit higher than the front, So recently, I took off the rear blocks that were on it and added smaller blocks. I dropped it by like 2 inches, 1.5 inches, something like that. So those are brand new blocks back there. And that made it sit almost perfectly level. So I'm very happy with the stance on it after lowering the rear. Maybe has a tiny bit of rake. It's certainly not Carolina squatted. So he also had an exhaust on there, obviously 100% straight piped all the way back. This is an LB7 pre-emissions, no emission stuff on it at all. So also on the truck, he had pinstriping all the way back on both sides. It was orange and red, and it wasn't pinstriping that you stick when it was painted on pinstriping. Then above each door, he had his name, his daughter or son's name, his child's name, and then on the other side, his wife's name and his other child's name. So he had all the names of his kids on the doors, and then on the back was the best part on the tailgate. Over here it said Immortal in the same like orange and black. Then over here it said Pile Driver. Immortal Pile Driver. Yes.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
And he also had these 3 lights set up here. They're okay. I don't know if I love them. I haven't taken them off, so they are what they are. He has the same ones in the front, and you see they're on like just a little homemade bracket, but they work. They come on with the parking lights. They haven't bothered me enough that I've taken them off. I don't love them. I don't hate them. It is what it is. Under the hood, other than a bunch of leaves, it doesn't have a ton done. So it has a Banks intake closed system with the box, and that runs down to a scoop underneath the bumper. The scoop, it's a little cut up because, you know, big tires don't fit that well. It also has the Banks big head wastegate, which my old LB7 had. It has intercooler piping. It looks different. I don't really know what the point of it is. I remember him telling me it has a Banks intercooler as well. So he has a lot of Banks stuff on this truck. And then the truck was also tuned EFI Live. Before I bought it, it has 5 levels. It's always on stage 5. And the reason is because he installed a South Bend dual disc clutch, so it can really handle whatever power I throw at it. I'm glad it has that, because I would have done that myself. So what I've done to the truck, and most of this is documented on my YouTube channel. So if you check out the cards up here, you'll see some of the other stuff that has been done since I've owned it. So start with the front end. It wasn't cat eye. It wasn't the bug eye. No, that's a Subaru thing. It was a cat eye when I got it, which, because it's an 03, they changed the front end in 03. However, I swapped it to the newer front end. So very recently I added the 06, we'll call it 06. I know it can be 05, 1500, 06, 07 HD. I'm just gonna call it an 06 front end. So the 06 front end hood, grill, little winglet pieces here, and that's all it is to swap it to the newer front end. So I had all that color matched, as well as the top of the bumper here. And then I put OEM style fender flares on it, color matched as well. Now he had the big pocket style fender flares on here, which I ripped off because they were ugly. They were color matched, but they were big and ugly, and I didn't like it, so those were ripped off. There was also running boards on here, which had started to rust. The truck has 0 rust. The truck is like excellent condition. But those running boards, it started to rust. That's one of the first things to rust, so they were ripped off too. Now, one of the more recent things are the headlights. Doing the headlight upgrade, completely custom built by me. I am no headlight builder. This is a pretty simple build, but I'm very happy with how they came out. Color matched on the ends, color matched the bezels. We did the half halo strips that are switchback, and then color matched LED pods for the high beam. Really love how these things came out. They came out excellent. I'm very happy with them. If I could do it over again, I probably would have added like dual projectors up at the top. That just is a little over my skill level for the first ever set of headlights I built. So I'm happy with those. I could always make another set. They're not that expensive to do on this truck. Moving along, I added the 2015 and a half plus mirrors to this truck, added the Boost Auto OLED turn signals. I did not get switchback because there's no white on this truck other than the half halos. The cab lights are amber. Those little 3 lights underneath are amber. So I wanted these to all be amber. And then I had the caps color match. And they're all wired up. The reverse function works on there. All of that works just as it's supposed to from the factory. It did have factory cab lights on it. I swapped them initially for the Recon cab lights. Then I swapped them again for the newer OLED style Recon cab lights. Super clean, no leaks at all. I'm very glad that they don't leak. Color matched and chrome Escalade style handles. So it had black handles on it before, which looked fine, but it looked a little cheap. The rest of the truck was color matched, so I wanted to make it all matte. I bought these off eBay. I actually had 2 of them repainted because they didn't look that good. And then just swapped them right on. That's a super easy swap. Now as we come inside, not a ton done here. He had LED lights already installed. It has an Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, double din head unit, which fits in perfectly with the 03 style dash. That steering wheel controls. Now, the volume and stuff isn't hooked up to the stereo. I wish it were. I might do that at some point. Other than that, every single speaker in here has been replaced, and replaced with quality speakers and run to amps, so that none of the speakers are sub, run off of power from the stereo. It's all off of amp. He did a really nice job installing these amps and subs in the back. This system is probably the best sounding car system I've ever heard. Now, I'm not into like car stereos, so you know, I haven't gone to a show and heard a professional one, but it sounds really good. OEM taillights, he had like some aftermarket like Euro style looking taillights, which looked terrible. I hate 99% of aftermarket taillights on trucks or cars, really. And of course, the wheels. I couldn't leave the wheels how they were. When I bought the truck, it had 22 by 12s with 33s, and I hated that look. I wanted like the off-road look, rugged, big tire, small wheel look. That's what I've always been used to. So I sold them to a buddy. I put on 18 by 10s with 35. Then I realized that was dumb. The truck isn't made for going off-road. It's freaking huge and heavy. So I recently swapped them out with forged drop star wheels and the Venom Power tires. These are 33 by 14.5 tires, so it is a true wide tire. It's not stretched at all. The wheels are 22 by 14, so it has an excellent stance, and they actually fit. So I'd have to say, guys, I believe that's all the mods and changes I've done to this truck, as well as the mod that the previous owner did. Now, I'm probably forgetting something, as I often do, so I apologize for that. What's coming next for this truck? Well, the shocks are horrendously ugly. I hate the shocks. They're orange and they're old. They're probably pretty beat and worn out. I don't know. So they match like the previous theme he had with the truck, orange, red, whatever, with the pinstriping and all that. Oh, and I almost forgot the wheels he had on this truck. They were black, but with the orange/red accents in them. I mean, he tied all the colors together, sure. Just not my style. Shocks getting replaced. Probably gonna go with the Bilstein 5100s, because that seems to be what everyone runs, and that's gonna clean up the look of this truck a lot. And then after that, you guys will just have to wait and see, because I always have things in mind up here that I want to do to all my trucks. So I hope you like this little overview of this truck. It may be a little boring because nothing's actually happening, but I wanted to go over it because I do get questions on this truck a lot, like what's done to this, what's done to that, who did this, what are your future mods, how many miles. So hopefully I answered all the questions with that. I look forward to future mods and videos with you guys. Until then, thanks for watching. Check out the other videos. I do have another Duramax on the channel. It is a little Duramax, it's not big. And then the LS1 E36 swap continues as well. See you next time, guys. Thanks.